Shalom, family. I have something a little different for you today. People the world over love boxing, including Paris, France, with its many gyms, with fighters some of you may recognize, like Jean-Marc Mormick and Sophie Mathis, Tony Yoka, and Johan Duapa. In the past couple of weeks, I witnessed two fighters, French, that I was not aware of. One who beat Siobhan Clark, who is now 10-1. He was beaten by cruiserweight Leonardo Mosquera, who's now 16-0 with 9 knockouts. Leonardo Mosquera Jimenez is a French transplant from the Dominican Republic. He's a standard boxer with a good jab that he works behind with combinations. He has a good punch selection and so-so defense, accuracy, and stamina because I questioned his gas tank. But if you like catch and shoot and you like counters, although they're delayed, he has it, as well as good endurance. Middleweight Anuel Ngamisange, 14-0 with 9 KOs. Another transplant to France of the Republic of Congo. He's also a standard boxer. He has good combos and a punch selection with decent power, good accuracy. He fights mid-range and he doesn't tend to smother his work, which to me is refreshing, and he utilizes a high guard. I just think it would be interesting to see him against a body puncher, just to see how he adjusts. Of all the fighters that I'm showcasing here, I'd have to say his footwork is the worst in my opinion. Now I don't recall this, but he fought on the Usyk versus Dubois undercard against a man named Fyodor Serkazin. Now if you're like me and you weren't familiar with the first two, surely this guy you will know. Super middleweight Kevin Lele Sadjo, 24-0 with 21 knockouts, fighting out of France by way of Cameroon. He's ranked number 6 in the world and number 2 in France, behind none other than Christian Mbili. More on that later. I view Kevin as a puncher pressure fighter, continuously coming forward, overwhelming with looping shots and looping overhands and hooks. He has a pretty good punch selection and he works the levels. Sometimes I've seen him come forward with a herky-jerky style, but he is constant pressure, front and lead foot heavy, and generally you're always going to see him with a high guard. Now I have seen him utilize a jab, but because he is such pressure, he's generally just in someone's face, overwhelming them with shots on the inside. He can fight at like a mid-range, but it's still the same, consistent, overwhelming with shots, very high guard when there's return fire. Something about him reminds me of Christian Mbili, very reminiscent in its posture, in the guard, and the actual brawler type style. Now I said earlier that I would get back to Christian Mbili, and it seems that the IBF has ordered a final eliminator against number 3 in the IBF, Christian Mbili, versus number 6 in the IBF, Kevin Lele Sadjo, the winner getting to fight William Skull. I personally think either one can easily beat William Skull, but in order to do so, someone's O's gotta go. And I do look forward to speaking to this particular matchup later. Next up we have the middleweight Frenchman Bruno Serras, who is 26 with 2 draws and 5 knockouts. Bruno. No one knew who the hell this guy was, and I can see why. But now he has officially been put on the map. I view Bruno as a standard boxer with an open stance. Hands are generally low with little to no guard. He's rangy. He does utilize his jab with semi-looping shots. He does not use feints. I wanted to say he mostly looks haphazard, but as I viewed more film on him, He may have some idea of what it is he's doing. It's just not a pretty style. I would call him wild, but not a wildling, as I'm known to call people sometimes. I just don't think he's fundamentally sound, but he does understand basic hit and don't get hit, and I guess that accounts for something, because he managed to get picked by super middleweight Amurdikkka, who is 44, 2 losses with 35 knockouts, and the boxing god smiled on him, giving him a 6th round knockout against Jaime, proving every fighter has a puncher's chance and every dog has its day. If you know what you're looking at, you know boxing is on fire.